Hey there, welcome back. Today, we're delving into a subject that has left us all curious and pondering, the vanishing of Kyron Horman. But before we get started, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Let's dive straight in. Kyron Richard Horman came into this world on September 9, 2002, in Portland, Oregon. His parents, Kani and Desiree, had already separated before his birth, and Kyron spent his early years with his mother. However, due to Desiree's health issues, she had to seek treatment in Canada, and Kyron went to live with his father. Since Kane was occupied with his job as an engineer at Intel, Desiree reached out to her longtime friend Terry and asked her to move in and take care of Kyron full-time. Terry agreed to the arrangement. Interestingly, Kane and Terry were not strangers to each other. They had an affair while Kane was still married to Desiree, but they had ended things by the time Terry moved in. However, living together reignited their relationship, and they eventually tied the knot in 2007. Kyron Horman, a vibrant and enthusiastic 7-year-old, had a deep love for the beach and aspired to become a police officer like his stepfather, Tony Young. He excelled academically, particularly in advanced math, and displayed a natural talent for learning sign language. Despite his intelligence, Kyron had been experiencing memory difficulties in the weeks prior to his disappearance and would occasionally become absent-minded during conversations. Terry, his mother, mentioned that his doctor suspected he might be having mini seizures and arranged an appointment for him on June 11, 2010. On June 4, 2010, Skyline Elementary held its science fair. Kyron, who had prepared an exhibit on red-eyed tree frogs, was super excited to showcase his project. Terry dropped him off at school in the morning, leaving his backpack and coat in his classroom. They then headed to set up his exhibit in the gym. Several people saw Kyron, Terry, and baby Kiara in the gym around 8 a.m. Since it was science fair day, the school was open to everyone, and there was no need to sign in. After checking out the other exhibits, Terry and baby Kiara left the school at around 8:45 a.m. Classes were about to begin, and Terry caught a glimpse of Kyron walking down the hallway towards his math class. She called out to him, and he waved goodbye before she left. Kani got home from work at 2 p.m. that day. About an hour and a half later, Kani, Terry, and Kiara headed down to the bus stop to wait for Kyron. The bus arrived on time, but Kyron wasn't on it. The bus driver said that Kyron didn't even get on the bus that day. Terry immediately called the school and found out that Kyron never showed up for class and was marked absent. The teacher said that Terry had mentioned Kyron had a doctor's appointment that day. Later on, Terry denied saying that and claimed she had actually mentioned it. The appointment was for the following Friday. It's worth noting that school would already be out for the summer by then, so there was no need for her to bring it up at all. Once they realized Kyron was missing, the school secretary called 911, and the search began shortly after. The search for Kyron Horman, which was the biggest in Oregon's history, involved more than 2,300 searchers and lasted for 10 days. However, despite all these efforts, nothing was ever discovered. There were absolutely no traces of Kyron anywhere. As a result, his disappearance was officially classified as a criminal investigation rather than just a missing persons case. During the investigation, the police quickly became suspicious of Terry Horman's involvement in her stepson's disappearance. Out of all the adults involved, including Kyron's parents and step-parents, Terry was the only one who failed not one, but 2 polygraph exams. Digging into Terry's emails, it was discovered that she held a strong dislike for Kyron and even blamed him for her troubled marriage. She also seemed to resent the fact that Kani had made her son move out months prior due to the strained relationship between Kane and James. Adding to the suspicion, just a few days after Kyron went missing, Terry was quoted as saying to Desiree, "I loved your son." This choice of words raised eyebrows, as Terry was already referring to Kyron in the past tense, while the rest of the family held on to hope that he would be found safe and sound. Was this just an unfortunate slip of the tongue, or did it indicate that she already knew what would happen to him? Desiree, on her part, firmly believed that Terry is guilty. Caney also shares this belief, stating that Terry seemed to be suffering from postpartum depression and a personality disorder, along with having issues with alcohol. He eventually divorced her and obtained a restraining order against her. Some people suspected that Terry's best friend, Dee Dee Spisher, might have been involved as well, especially since she had approximately 3 hours of unaccounted time on the day Kyron went missing, which coincided with the time Terry claimed to be driving her baby around. Later, it was discovered that Dee Dee was actually working at a local nursery that day. However, since she was also receiving unemployment benefits at the time, she didn't want to admit to potentially committing unemployment fraud. And until now, there's no sign from Kyron. How do you think what could have happened to Kyron? Let us know in the comments.